The Other League podcast week. What week are we in, boys? Someone help. It's been a while. We had an intermission in podcasts.
Week 11. We were week 11.
11
Week
already, dude.
11.
Wow.
Good to know. Well, cheers to week 11. I've got some vino. I'm joined by my co-host Scott Sharp and special guest, first time on the pod, also a man who likes his red wine, Patty J. Dragon.
Thanks. Really happy to be here. Glad to be drinking wine with you, Scott. Your choice of sickly urine looks very good too.
It's sterile and I like it.
What is that actually? Did you make a mixed drink?
No, it's Buffalo Trace.
Oh, wow. You go.
Mixed drinks. Buffalo Trace on the rocks.
With child urine.
Well, I also have my bottle of Bullet next to me so I can make good on some shots that I owe people in the group. That is what we call a teaser in the business. So stick around if you want to see me pull multiple shots of Bullet before I have to go actually finish work things tonight. So for the podcast today, we are getting a special Friday edition, special Friday episode. So that means we are already past last week's matchups. We're going to go straight into standings and talk about where people are at in the league. We have playoff pushes being made. We have some playoff locks and some trade moves that were made because the playoffs are a little far out of sight for some of us in the league. Starting off in the East Division, we have Alex Orbeck overtaking the CPU team 7-3 with an 85% chance to make the playoffs. Definitely looking like he's set up there. CPU team in our division still has a 36% chance, sitting at 5-5. And then the bottom dwellers all live in the Eastern Division. We got Gavin at 4-6, me at 3-7 now, thanks to an unfortunate loss to Team Grit. Thank you, Scott.
Shout outs.
So you're sitting at 2-8. I'm at 3-7. And all that really did for us was ensure that I can't make playoffs. So thank you.
Well, there's a 1% chance. We both have a 1% chance.
Yeah, you have a 1% chance.
So I'm not ruling anything out yet.
I do find it funny that you and I have 1% chances. Gavin has a 2% chance with a 4-win season. And the only person in the league who's been completely ruled out of playoffs is Corey Eller, sitting at 2-8. Same record as you, but sitting at exactly 0% chance to make playoffs. Chance, mathematically eliminated.
Is that a divisional thing? Is it because of his division, or what are we looking at?
I think so.
Yeah. I assume because that's got to be a tiebreaker thing. Like between the two of you, that he probably does not have the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of amazed at how quickly everything's separated out in the East.
Yeah.
Alex Orbeck just suddenly, I feel like last week it was just pretty close, pretty tied up. We had some real ballers between Gavin and you, Scott. But man, it's just all of a sudden Alex Orbeck dominating.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a pretty crazy surge. And in our division, I referenced it in the last podcast, which was 2 weeks ago. I was sitting in fantasy limbo where, a bunch of us in the East Division had pretty similar records. So if, certain ball bounces one way versus the other, and my guy gets the points, someone else takes a loss, pretty much anybody in the East could have had a chance to make a run. And then now it really stratified. It's like the clearest possible path revealed itself. Whereas in the West, that is the exact opposite story. We have one playoff lock in Alex Dragon, sitting at 8-2, leading the league, but he's also only one game ahead of both Wesley and Alex Orbeck, both sitting at 7-3. So Alex Dragon with a 93% chance, Wesley Fall with an 81% chance to make playoffs, coming in second in the West Division. And then Pat, you and Corey Funderburg, both at 6-4. You have the tiebreaker, so it's 57% to 48% between you two.
Yeah, it's just the division of champions in the West here.
Yeah, we can't even argue that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, thank you for joining us on the Bottom Dweller podcast.
Yeah.
We needed some championship caliber talent on this pod, so I'm glad it finally showed up.
You are honored.
Consider yourself graced by my presence.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm looking down at some of the detailed standings now, and Scott, I see the difference. Corey Eller is 0-5 in his own division. You're at 2-4 in the division, and
Yeah.
I am at 1-5 in the division, but I snagged a couple wins off people in the West.
I've got a pretty tough points against. I think I'm like second points against.
I can
Well,
tell
I
you
really
exactly
like-
where you're at.
I'm third.
If you're looking
Scott,
at it, share your screen, because I feel like we're at a point where we can really start looking at the points for and just
Yeah.
the spread.
Yeah,
Scott, do you actually want to know where you are in points against?
I'm third, right?
No, you are 4th in points against.
Oh, okay.
And in
Oh,
points,
yeah, I see.
and in points for, you are 9th.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the real hard part is
Yeah,
not having
checks out,
points.
Yeah, not scoring is apparently pretty tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Turns out, yeah.
All right. So that's our current standings. Let's talk about the game that occurred last night. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I was on the edge of my seat with this game. I mean, we got an absolute banger of a Thursday night game. Am I right, boys?
I mean, wow. Couldn't take my eyes off of it.
Electric. Those Derrick Henry runs in the third quarter.
Derrick Henry TD pass? What?
Yeah. Okay. So truth be told, hand up. Not a single one of us on this podcast watched the Thursday night game. We were all at a concert in Boulder, but referencing the Derrick Henry pass, we were out there at this concert. We hadn't thought about football the entire time. And a guy behind the three of us in the crowd is checking his fantasy lineup, and in a lull between songs just goes, Derrick Henry passing touchdown. And all three of us whipped around so fast it could have like broken our necks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we immediately just started going on our phones.
We're like, what? Oh
Are
yeah,
we
fantasy
not football guys for not watching a Thursday night game between the Tennessee Titans and whoever they played. Green Bay?
They've been so trash for like the past 6 weeks. I just don't even think about Thursday night football.
Guys, the Broncos are done with their primetime slots. It's okay. We're good. We can watch Thursday night football now. The Broncos have subsided. They are no longer part of the national narrative. Their games are getting flexed. It's fantastic.
Just like that. I need them to be flexed into the prime time so that we get more stories about Russell Wilson just annoying the shit out of his teammates.
More memes. The memes have been worth it all to me.
Y'all,
God, the meme content has been incredible.
It's been through the roof.
the memes are great. It's given Pat a new team identity, which I love, even though he doesn't have Russell Wilson. And I learned something today listening to the radio when I was driving up to Eldora. Apparently, Russell Wilson in the last game that they played was calling audibles at the line of scrimmage from his Seattle Seahawks playbook, and nobody on the Broncos knew what the play call was.
I love that.
Oh,
That.
so now they're at the point where not only is he fucking annoying as hell, he's just calling just garbage. You know his linemen have got to be like, hey, like, you want to just like not block this one?
You want to just like
Just
let
let
him
him
get
through.
speared?
Yeah.
Oh
Didn't-
man.
Can we also discuss, like, circle back to the trade that you made with Orb, the homer trade that Orb made?
Yeah, we can absolutely talk about that. I traded off of Russell Wilson after 2 weeks. And keep in mind, put yourself back in the preseason mindset. We had Russell Wilson coming into Denver. He was supposed to be allowed to cook, and like letting Russ cook was the whole big thing that was gonna. This offense has Jerry Jeudy, has Cortland Sutton. It had Javonte Williams at the time. The offense was supposed to be something else. And, I thought I was doing myself a solid by drafting Russell in the second. And after 2 weeks, I got off the train, but a lot of people were still hopeful at that point that he would figure it out. And needless to say, I'm very happy with the trade that I made for, granted, Amon-Ra St. Brown was not healthy most of this year, but a top wide receiver with keeper value, I will always take over high knees in an airplane.
And he's
Oh,
still
God, yeah.
St. Brown still has more points than Russ.
Accurate. Yeah.
That sounds
And
about right.
That's tough.
that's
The
brutal.
I called it
quarterback,
at the
that's
time.
bad.
I said it was a bad trade at the time. One of the future trades that I've actually vetoed this year. I was very vocal on my hate for that, and I am confirmed in that. Like, that was a terrible trade for Orb. It's solely so he could get Russ.
Well,
it.
yes, but keep in mind, in our league, if Russ had turned it around, even
And-
let's say it took him like 3 or 4 weeks, and he actually turned it around, and we got like, you remember like prime Seahawks Russell Wilson, what he would be able to put up for fantasy. If Alex got that in the trade, and I had Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's been hurt for a significant portion of the year, in our league where quarterbacks are a premium, that would have been, that would have been lopsided his way.
Russ wasn't allowed to call a timeout, and this trade happened after after St. Brown's 39.4 game explosion. Like, what do we think was going to happen here? You know?
Yeah.
It really goes to show you, though, how much of a premium quarterbacks are. You two had, each of you, one bad draft on like pretty reliable quarterbacks with Matt Stafford and Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And you got fist fucked.
Yeah, you're right.
I really want to do a draft recap episode. So whenever we get to that, it'll be interesting to see who panned out and who totally busted. I would love to do that for one of our upcoming episodes as we get closer to playoffs. For the Thursday night game, though, one thing of note on my end, right before the Thursday night game, I picked up Christian Watson, the rookie wide receiver from Green Bay, who had previously put up a 32-point, 3-touchdown game out of nowhere. Yeah. And he cleared waivers. He was sitting as a free agent. And I decided just to go ahead and pick him up and just see what happens. And he came through with 4 catches for 48 yards, but 2 touchdowns and 21 fantasy points. Granted, he's on my bench, so that didn't help me at all. But
I was going to say, you must be doing pretty well this week then.
No, still projected a fat 96, as the pinned GroupMe text will show you. But no, that's like one of those late season flyer pickups. I saw a news article saying that they were going to keep incorporating Watson into the offense, and that Aaron Rodgers has been looking for his like go-to Devontae Adams replacement, and Christian Watson is as good as they have. So that's good enough for me. I put him on the end of the bench. If he pans out, he could be someone with a lot of keeper value for next year. Especially if, with Gabe Davis being so unreliable, with Mike Williams being so unreliable for me, I might be able to slot in Christian Watson. So that was good news for me on Thursday night. Pat, I know you had news on the Dragon Bowl side of things for Thursday night as well.
Oh, yeah, totally. This game went from being like, it's whatever, who cares? It's a random Thursday night game between like two middling teams, right? Ended up being huge for playoff implications in our league, because Alex Dragon is just in bye-week hell. Like, I called that out on the group text. Like, this is the opportunity to really jump on him. And then Derrick Henry comes out and drops what? 25 points?
Yeah. Derrick Henry passing touchdown?
Yeah. And then on my side, again, going back to the quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers drops his league high so far, or season high.
Yeah, still hasn't broken 20 points this whole season, which is crazy for a back-to-back MVP going into the year. But yeah, of course, Aaron Rodgers puts up his season high 19 points against you when you need it at least.
Of course. And it's still not great. It's 19. It's not like going to kill me, but I was looking at that like, Aaron Rodgers is going to drop a solid like 10 points, and it's going to be off to the races for me. Yeah. Now it's way tighter than I feel like it should be.
It looks like the only other team in our league who started someone in this matchup would be Gavin's team starting Alan Lazard. And Alan Lazard getting targets, putting up 10.7 fantasy points, but not getting into the end zone. That was Christian Watson's job. So yeah, kind of disappointing from Alan Lazard being the de facto one on the team, but just not getting those high value targets.
Yeah. Gavin's team's looking good. He keeps making moves.
Can I ask a question? Why? Why? Like I told Pat this when we were trying to work out our trade. The biggest disappointment to me so far in this late season has been the fact that Justin Fields went to a team that isn't a contender, because I really wanted to trade for Justin Fields. And I tried. I wanted Justin Fields so bad. I was in trade talks with Matt before he traded away Justin Fields to Gavin. I wanted Justin Fields so bad. I had a feeling it was coming. He had put up like 1 or 2 of those like 20+ point weeks, and I felt like he was finally doing it. Oh man, Gavin's team. He's not mathematically eliminated. Still has what was it, a 2% chance technically?
Yeah, and Justin Fields has bounced around too, man. Like I had him on my team, didn't really pan out. He got drafted like surprisingly high by I think Corey,
Mm-hmm.
and he just never really panned out. But I took a chance on him. Like he could be good. He's a running quarterback.
Yeah. So
I
Justin,
chose Tyler Heineke or whatever.
yeah, Taylor Heineke.
Yeah.
So Justin Fields was drafted in the 6th round, the same round, Scott, as David Montgomery and Juju Smith-Schuster. These were players all drafted back to back. Were Justin Fields, David Montgomery, and Juju Smith-Schuster.
I thought Fields was a 4th round draft.
No, 6th round. Drafted 53rd overall.
Got it. I had the similar package. Deonta Foreman and Justin Fields. I think it was for Kareem Hunt. I still don't think I would have done it. But I had the same package thinking he was a 4th round for round 2 keeper value, dude, which is obviously a pretty big game changer.
I'm going to go back to week 5 and just look at this trend. Starting in week 5, 17, 18, 23, 26, 42, 39. Like, guy is the limit, and his upcoming schedule is Atlanta, New York Jets, and Green Bay.
Gavin's going to trade him away for like a kicker.
I think Gavin's all in on the keeper value.
But of all the players that he traded away, and oh god,
yeah, I don't.
But at least he got Justin Fields.
Yeah, he got Justin Fields, who he can build his team around for next year, assuming he stays healthy. I'll knock on wood for that because I really want to see a healthy Justin Fields. Yeah, Gavin, I don't think has any intention of giving up Justin Fields. It's like the one, if I'm looking at his team right now, the position ranks of all of his starting lineup, every single one of them is over 20, except for his flex and his kicker.
God.
And Justin Fields is top 4 in the position, in a premium position in this league. So yeah. I don't think he's getting rid of Justin Fields. There's incredible value there. It was a trade that needed to be made. If anything, that ensures his competitiveness for next year. And speaking of, let's talk about another trade that was made. Pat, you want to brief us on the trade that you and I got to work out right before playoff push?
Oh, yeah. We were going back and forth for a couple things. I think I've made it pretty clear how highly I value Dameon Pierce. And he's been good. He's been really, really good. But the thing that sets him apart is his keeper value. He was a free agent pickup. I mean, that's what, round 13? And he's going to be a top 10 guy next year, no doubt. So your thing was like, dude, you're out of the playoffs, or you have a 1% chance. Okay, let's not jump that out.
I'm in the 1%, guys. Yes. I'm a 1%er now.
Not out of the playoffs yet.
Yeah, that's why I'm drinking wine. I'm a 1%er.
Yeah, so my value on him was super high. And it's just so tight in the division of champions right now that I had to do something. I had to. And I knew you had Eckler up for trades. No, I think you originally sent me an offer for Mark Andrews, right?
The reason why that happened, Pat, was because I saw that Zach Ertz was out. Mm-hmm. And I saw that you had an empty tight end slot. And I was looking to move Austin Eckler and Mark Andrews separately. I was going to do those as 2 separate transactions to different teams to try and balance it out a little bit and just get peak value for both of them individually. But then once we started talking, I was like, honestly, you have the pieces that I really want for next year that can't really help you right now because Jamar Chase is out, Zach Ertz out, and Dameon Pierce is like the one who can still play, and like his real value is next year.
Don't forget though, Jamar Chase, he might be coming back this year. I mean, next couple weeks.
Yeah, this year for sure. But if you're making that playoff push in your so-called division of champions,
yes,
yeah, what I was able to provide you was Austin Eckler, RB1, and you can really make that push. It is an upgrade over Dameon Pierce. As much as you love Dameon Pierce, Austin Eckler is a significant upgrade because he is the RB1 stud of fantasy.
Yeah. So I feel great for this year. Next year, it's just a future me problem. I'm just going to have to draft really, really well. because I only have like 2 keepers who are kind of reliable. Amari Cooper, who you tried to get off me, and I had to be like, dude, I can't give up every single keeper that I have.
Yeah, I think that was a fair pushback. We had a good negotiation with this, and we were pretty open. Like, hey, like I can't give you all 3 of these keepers that I have to have. But and when I came back, I was like, honestly, I wouldn't hate Zach Ertz because he's a rock solid tight end for next year. He's just not coming back this year.
Yeah.
And like I'm okay to stash because I'm in full on rebuild. Like it's helpful now. The clarity that I have, not being in fantasy limbo, is so nice. I was so happy to pull the trigger on this and do it well before the trade deadline too. So, Scott, you think you might be making any moves before the trade deadline?
Well, I was going to say, what's the outside perspective on that?
I didn't listen to anything you just said. I'm literally dialing something up right now.
Are you dialing up a trade right now?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
What's the perspective of the Eckler trade? Is that like that's bullshit, or is it like
no,
not a rebuild?
No, not at all. Not at all. I thought it was a good trade. I saw what Topher was doing. I didn't veto that trade. I get it. I've looked at different packages around the same thing. For me, I don't want to come in last place. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do the PowerPoint. I don't want to completely punt the thing. But I think we're also at a point where you got to say, okay, like I'm just, again, to say what you just said, like the value of having a good quarterback is insane. And so that's what I'm after right now. I'm trying to find a keeper quarterback, QB1,
Scott,
for next year.
Scott, can I tell you what and Pat, you'd get a kick out of this too. Can I tell you what the other package was that I was fishing around with in the league for Austin Eckler?
What?
This is like a little bit of pull behind the curtain. But I have been constantly hounding Corey Funderburg about Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow was drafted in the 5th.
Wow, that's solid.
So I was trying to get Joe Burrow, and I started. So opening offers were Joe Burrow and Chris Olave for Austin Eckler, and then of course he pushed back on that and was like, obviously not. I would have done Eckler for Burrow straight up, but Corey, I asked him if he just had any interest in trading away Joe Burrow, and he said that he probably wouldn't do it. But that was the one that I was closest on. I really wanted Joe Burrow for Eckler.
Corey is punching the air right now listening to this.
Speaking of which, Corey, be on the lookout because you just got a trade offer.
A lot of emotions going on for Corey right now.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly Toph. That's exactly what I'm dialing up right now.
Are you doing that with Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like for us bottom dwellers, Pat, this is a new perspective for you.
Tyreek Hill is on the block
for a keeper QB1. Yeah.
Pat, you don't have a keeper QB1. I've already been through this with you.
I got Dak.
You know, he's not a keeper. He was drafted in the he was drafted in the 3rd, I think. You have to take him as a first rounder.
How about this, Tyreek? It doesn't even have to be a keeper. If I get a solid whatever position 1 back, and then a little bit something else, Tyreek's on the block.
Oh, big news for the pod. Tyreek Hill on the block. Try to work something out with Pat during the podcast. Otherwise, it's going public.
I mean, Mark Andrews, he's sitting there. Number 1, like far and away tight end. Like you're going to be dominating the tight end position.
Mark Andrews drafted in the 4th, so he'd be a 2nd rounder next year, Scott.
I couldn't keep that, right? He was drafted in the
drafted in the 4th. You can keep. He'll just be your 2nd rounder next year.
Yeah. Got you.
Which is where I think Travis Kelce went last year. Was 2nd round, I believe. I know Kyle Pitts went in like the 3rd.
Like you're swapping a 1 in wide receiver for the number 1 tight end, but the difference in tight ends, I mean, there's like what 6 or 7 tight ends who are like legit producers.
Tight end 2, not number 1 tight end. Tight end 2.
Tight end 2 because he's hurt.
I would love to see you flip Mark Andrews off of me. I'm intrigued.
I'll look at it, but I don't know if that's scary. Like tight end, 2nd round pick or second round. That scares me a little bit.
All right,
he's like the modern day Gronk. Like I'm stoked to have him.
I think the injuries are what's bringing him down. If the injuries weren't there, I'd be pretty all in on this.
All right. While you guys work out the details on your Mark Andrews and Tyreek Hill trade, let's look at some of the other interesting pickups that have happened in the league. Now that we're getting into late season, I'm starting to see some fascinating stuff. Like, for instance, Jerry Jeudy getting dropped to waivers by High Knees in an Airplane, our own Pat Dragon making that move. And you picked up a running back who I dropped because he is out for the season. You picked up Breece Hall.
Yeah, 4th round.
Do you honestly think?
I'm stashing him.
Okay, so I thought about this when I dropped Breece Hall, and it was heartbreaking for me to do that. But Breece Hall was doing so good for me, and then he gets hurt, out for the season. His outlook on coming back, they're not expecting him to be 100% by the start of next year. Do you honestly think that a 2nd round pick is going to be worth it for a player that is coming off of a serious knee injury like that?
Let me preface with I didn't look at what draft pick he was. I just saw that he was available, and I was like, I have so many wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy is not going to get a start with Russell Wilson. Alex Orbeck obviously has more faith in that offense than I do. I figured
the man bleeds
I'll
orange.
stash somebody.
Also, why not just stash him? I mean, you can stash him for nothing, right? It doesn't cost you a roster spot. Just see what happens next year over the offseason. Maybe he rehab faster.
I will say it does cost a roster spot, especially for a contending team like Pat, because you got to have some depth going into playoffs. Like the playoff push is going to be tough because if one player goes down, it drastically reshapes your outlook.
Yeah.
But I mean, the hour spot is what it is. Like either use it or you don't. I don't have anybody in mind.
Oh my gosh. I've had 4 players IR eligible every week since week 2. It's been absolutely fucking brutal.
Yeah, you've been hurting.
Physically, mentally, emotionally hurting everywhere. Another one that was interesting from Alex Orbeck, dropping Chase Claypool and adding Kadarius Toney for Kansas City, who I think might actually have a decent role this week in this game because I believe they are missing a couple star wide receivers. Kadarius Toney, who got traded from New York, tons of upside, but only has about half a working hamstring at any given time.
I like that pickup. I'm a little surprised he's not starting him.
I'm surprised by that too. I feel like if you're going to
Cortland Sutton.
Correct. So that is exactly my reasoning was if you're going to make an upside play in getting Kadarius Toney, who put up 19 points against Jacksonville last week, why not start him again? Just put him in there. You don't have to look at it. You can hold your nose, but put him in the lineup if you're going to make that move.
That just goes back to Orbeck being just a homer. I mean, he's got Russell Wilson starting.
Yeah, that's what this all comes down to. All right, let's take a look at our matchups for this week. Going into week 11, yours truly, St. Brown in the Broken Zones, facing off against the CPU team. I am projected a fat 96, as we have already discussed. Looks like really what's going to come down to for me, I'm hoping not to get Justin Jefferson this week. Projected at 21. Jalen Hurts up against Indianapolis Colts. I'm hoping they just run the ball with Miles Sanders. And Lamar Jackson against Carolina. Lamar Jackson's going to put up points. Although, if I remember right, there was a stat that I heard recently. Lamar Jackson hasn't been a top 5 QB or top 6 QB since week 3. He's been he's come back down to earth a little bit, but I'm sure I'll see him blow up against my team. I'm literally starting Kenny Pickett. This is full rebuild mode for me. I'm going to have to make a roster move to fill in a kicker slot. We can move on. We don't have to talk about this.
Kenny Pickett's not terrible. I still remember when I was like, I don't want the quarterback of the worst team in the league. And I still feel really bad that you thought it meant you, Toph.
I know. I really thought you were referring to me. And I was like, wow, that's so mean.
Oh, that's really mean. We had 19 last week.
Okay. So here's the deal with Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, when I picked him up, he was about to face off against Miami and then Philadelphia and then a bye. So I've been riding that, knowing that he had a tough matchup, tough stretch of schedule. But now he put up 19 against New Orleans. He's got Cincinnati at home, the Colts, Atlanta, Baltimore, Carolina, and Las Vegas for week 16 in the Toilet Bowl. So I'm really hoping he can at least save me from that last place finish.
Yeah, it's a good pickup.
Yeah. Moving on to our next matchup, we have Corey Funderburg, 6-4, facing off against Gavin, 4-6. We've already had one player play in this matchup, Alan Lazard, with 10 points, just slightly under his projection of 12. It's really going to come down to Justin Fields versus whatever Justin Herbert can do.
Herbert,
I want to call it a really good pickup that we skipped over. Brandon Ayuk. I put it for him. He picked him up. Gavin picked him up. He's actually starting him. I like that a lot. Yeah, I want to start him.
I think I put it in a bid for him too. If I didn't put it in a bid, I was on the waiver about doing it.
Do you guys want the sauce? You want the sauce behind the Ayuk pickup?
Yeah.
So yes, he picked up Ayuk. Yes, he's starting him. But I've had a trade offer sitting in my inbox for so long. Gavin is trying to trade me Brandon Ayuk for Mike Williams.
I don't know Mike Williams that well, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, and it would.
He's not even. He's most likely not even going to play this week.
You got to do that right now. We need a live accepted trade offer because
I have no interest. I have no interest in Brandon Ayuk, a 6th rounder, so he'd be a 4th round keeper next year. I have Mike Williams, who's very up and down, but if he's healthy, he has 20 plus point upside, and he's an 11th round keeper. There's no reason I'm going to make that trade.
But a low of 3 and 3.7 2 times.
Yeah, that's the Mike Williams roller coaster. I also have Gabe Davis, who is Mike Williams light. He's the diet version of Mike Williams, so it's been brutal whenever they don't put up.
Store brand, yes.
Yeah. Keep in mind, though, I did acquire Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra St. Brown in trades, so I am solid on... I went from having very up and down wide receiver 2s to rock solid wide receiver 1s for their team for next year. It's just not going to show for this year, but for next year, I'm better off.
Yeah, I mean, when Jamar comes back in, I'm going to say 2 weeks, as a doctor, I'm calling that. I think you're actually in decent shape.
Yeah, we'll see. As long as I don't lose the toilet bowl against Scott, I'm happy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's going to be a shootout.
Can't wait, buddy. All right, our next one. Speaking of toilet teams, we have Scott Sharp facing off against Alex Orbeck. Scott sitting at 2-8, Alex sitting at 7-3. Scott, you are currently projected to only lose by 11, 118 to 129. No. What are you looking at in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be if it's only 11, I'd be happy with it. I think.
Are you writing this one off? Do we think Alex is just going to take the East Division and just run with it?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, for God's sake, he's even got the best kicker in the game.
Oh, I mean, what are you going to do against that? It's
okay.
Dude.
McCaffrey and Chubb, that's a cheat code. The Russell Wilson thing still doesn't make sense to me, and I'll die. He doesn't have great quarterbacks. Heineke, I guess, is all right, but it doesn't matter.
Alex Orbeck picked up Heineke, Pat. He picked up Taylor Heineke, so
I do like that pickup. I'm a Heineke fan.
I know you're a big Heineke guy.
I bet Pat tried to trade Heineke to everybody in our league.
Is that one of the players that's been kicked around by everybody?
No, because nobody would accept any offers that I offered for Taylor Heineke.
No,
it was funny offering them because one of the things I don't know if you use the app or the desktop, but on the app it says, oh, he's rostered by X% of all ESPN users. Taylor Heineke was sitting at a solid 3%, and I was sitting there like, no, this is a top 10 quarterback.
This guy's elite.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Tyreek Hill to buy Hurts. I just have no faith in the Broncos. Broncos country, let's cry. And he's got Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, and the Broncos D. I think it's going to be a bounce back for Las Vegas Raiders, and I think they're going to get rocked. I think you could take this game.
I will be in Vegas for this game. The game is in Denver, but I'll be in Vegas watching this, and I can assure you Vegas fans have no faith in that team. Derek Carr has hurt them too many times.
I tell you what's hurt me is this David Montgomery situation too. I mean, he has become just a dud.
No, he's going to be a stud this week because Khalil Herbert's out.
I mean,
looking at his stats, how have you not dropped him yet? He dropped 5.4 weeks in a row.
I have come so close every time, and I think it's just like what they call it, like when you buy something but you don't want to let go of it. I can't think of what it is.
Sunk cost fallacy.
It's sunk cost fallacy, but there's something else. But I just
buyer's remorse.
buyer's remorse. I don't want to have buyer's remorse about it all. Like I don't know. I've had so many different claims with him selected, and I'm like, well, it's David Montgomery, and then you look back at what he could have been and what he was to start the year and all the things. And yeah, he's been so close every time.
All right, let's try to get through these last two matchups real quick. We've got about a minute 15 left on our Zoom that we can do. Second to last matchup, we have Corey Eller 2-8 facing off against Pat Dragon. Pat looking good, but Aaron Rodgers did put up 19. He exceeded his expectation by 15 expectation of 15 points. So he overshot a little bit. The rest of it, you're basically just relying on Philadelphia to have a tough time against the Colts. Corey Eller has Miles Sanders and AJ Brown. So no matter how Philadelphia scores against the Colts, it's bad for you. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unless you're just a big
Aaron Rodgers, like
unless
proving that drug users can be decent. It pisses me off as a human being.
Just on principle. But you do have Josh Allen in your flex projected 25.7. That's insane.
Do you feel good about that? I mean, it's just nice having Josh Allen no matter what. He's just carrying me.
All right, last matchup, Alex Dragon facing off against Wesley Fall. This one's probably the most high octane one we have. Projections are 133 for Alex, 135 for Wesley. And Derrick Henry has already balled out with a 25-pointer.
My God, I would love.
Are we recording right now? Am I doing an ad?
Yeah, it's Pat, give us your best live read. So sorry for the abrupt commercial break, but we had to tell you about our sponsor, Midnight. Pat,
wow, guys, let me tell you about this great sponsor that I have. It's called Midnight Weed Pills. You get a little bit high, but it has CBD, so you just kind of chill out. It has cured my sleeping, honestly. And we were talking about this at bowling league the other night. Homie, sleeping's hard. This makes it easy.
Sleeping is tough, but not with Midnight.
Whoa.
Yeah, as a friend and unpaid professional advertiser for Midnight, I can tell you that Midnight has made Scott and Pat better people and more tolerable to be around. So if you don't already have your own brand of weed pills that you're loyal to for sleep aid, or if you live in a state like Alabama where it's probably not legal, ask us for Midnight and we'll shove it up Scott's butt and send him down to Alabama for you.
I will happily mail out drugs.
At this point now, I'm wondering what the YouTube I want to know what the YouTube moderation filter will pick up on in this podcast.
I wonder, like, can you fly with Midnight?
I think you can definitely fly with Midnight.
Technically, no, but I know people who travel with weed all the time.
You? Is it you?
No, I only do meth.
Oh,
if I really want to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, fentanyl is getting a little dangerous. I think maybe we need to talk about that, but keep up with the meth.
Yeah, no, you're doing great, buddy.
Yeah. Really helps my work.
Your dental hygiene's been really impressive with all the meth use.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up this this matchup that I was talking about. Alex Dragon versus Wesley Fall. Going to be a really good one. Going to be super high scoring. You've got all your stars in this one. You got your Patrick Mahomes, your Saquon Barkley. On the other side, you got your Stephon Diggs, your Terry McLaurin, who absolutely torched the Philadelphia Eagles defensive backs, which was awesome to see. You've got Derrick Henry throwing passing touchdowns. And on the other side, you've got DeAndre Hopkins catching 1 million passes per game. And you've got TJ Hawkinson slowly but surely working his way up the tight end ranks. So super high scoring matchup. Can't wait to see how this one shakes out between a 7-3 Wesley Fall and 8-2 Alex Dragon.
I mean, the two on bye is the only thing that you kind of look at where it's like, okay, that one hurts. But this is going to be a shootout. This is going to be a great one to watch. I think we'll be texting all day Sunday on this one, I think.
Funny enough,
you guys are going to be glued to the Jets versus Patriots game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Wesley has the Jets D, and Alex has not only the Patriots D, but huge is Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. That's going to be a deciding factor. Both of these teams have multiple players on bye. Wesley Fall with Mike Evans, Tom Brady, and the Bucs defense on bye. And then Alex Dragon sitting Tua, Leonard Fournette, Tyler Lockett, and your normal kicker, Jason Myers. But we found a decent replacement in Cairo Santos. Ooh. So, yeah, lots of bye weeks, but still projected 130 plus for both teams.
I'm just impressed with Alex using 2 bench spots
Right.
for a defense and a kicker.
That's like the ultimate, and he's number 1 in the league. That's the ultimate flex possible.
This time last year, we were shitting so hard on Alex Dragon, my brother.
We were shitting on
he was
Alex.
Terrible. Now it's like I got to copy whatever he's doing.
Yeah, we were shitting on Alex Dragon like early season, like weeks 1 and 2, and then he kind of came out of nowhere and has been just working the waiver wire little by little every single time. And yeah, I still remember Scott on one of the first podcasts. Are we sleeping on Alex Dragon? Yeah, and no, nobody's sleeping on him. He's fucking dominating.
He's absolutely dominating. I mean, his team's stacked. The Ramondre Stevenson pickup, was that a free agent pickup?
Ramondre Stevenson was drafted in the 11th round by Scott Sharp.
Oh, that's a great keeper.
That's tough.
Yeah, but okay, but do you think that they're going to go back to the Bill Belichick running 3 running backs and you never know who it's going to be starting next year, or do they actually stick with Ramondre?
No, I don't think they do. Like, there's no chance I think they change up that Belichick changes up what he does. That's half the reason I remember dropping him now was I don't trust New England running backs ever. It's just week by week, I feel like. But undoubtedly, he's the bell cow now for sure.
I don't trust anything or anybody from New England, especially Dragons.
Literally, it's not even our actual last names, and you guys believe that.
God, we're such idiots.
Yeah, we're absolute morons. The fact that you guys have stuck with it for this long is really impressive.
We're really committed to it.
Speaking of this long, how have we gone this long into the podcast and not had a shot yet?
Yeah, so I was actually just checking the group me. We were talking about vices, talking about your meth and fentanyl addictions.
Everybody's got a vice.
Yeah, I think my vice is just making board bets with Wesley Fall. And I think we should also have some board bets with this group of podcasters. But first, I got to make good. I think, according to this group text, I owe Wesley Fall 2 shots and he owes me 1. So I'm going to go ahead and take 2 hefty little pulls out of this bullet here to make good on that. And while I'm doing that, do you guys have any board bets that you would like to make? Any shot bets that you would like to make on the pod?
I'm going to go with, really, Scott, I think you got it this week.
With Orb?
Yeah. And it's going to be huge. I mean, that's like, what, last place versus number 2?
You think Scott's going to beat Alex Orbeck?
I have that little faith in the Broncos, yes.
Wow, like I kind of want to. I might take a shot bet on that.
Like, you think you're gonna lose or you're gonna win?
You're gonna bet against yourself, Scott. You're gonna
no. This is a weird. I'm also making a drink. I felt bad that you were having to do this by yourself, so I made a drink. That's what this is right now. Right, also, I am bottom 5 in technology, also. So you may notice that I'm carrying you around on my phone.
I like the tour.
Yeah, tour of my little.
Yeah, thanks for the apartment tour. This podcast now on HGTV.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that feels weird to bet a shot against myself, but I just know Orb has been an absolute powerhouse. I know that in everything goes wrong for me this year, so I don't feel comfortable about it.
As far as everything going wrong, are you also including your internet connection as one of those things going wrong?
Did I just break up?
Yeah, this podcast is unlistenable now. This is brutal.
Brutal.
Oh, there he is.
Are y'all losing me?
Hello?
You're in HP now.
Hello? Scott, can you hear me?
You're fucking get out of here.
It was choppy for a second there, but then we've run with it.
We're doing a bet or not, Dragon?
Yeah, you guys should make that bet, and then I'll bet something with a different matchup. I think we should all take. Hold on.
Well, I'm betting that you win.
Yeah, can we all take bets on Wesley and Alex Dragon? I think that's the Super Bowl of the week. We should all bet on that.
All right.
That 25 from Derrick Henry hurts. That really hurts.
I want to bet a spread. I want to bet like a spread.
Okay. Yeah, we have spreads.
Because I still think
somebody. I can write this down. I got it.
I still think
pod bets.
Young Dragon pulls this out. I think I might be going back on this.
I'll tell you what. I'll make the first one. I believe Alex Dragon is currently, he's still only projected 133, even with that 25. Yeah, he's still projected 133 against Wesley's 135. I think Alex Dragon wins this outright.
I disagree. My heart says Patriots. My head says Jets are legit this year. Patriots have been on a tear. I feel like it's going to be a letdown game. And I think because the Patriots are going to have a letdown game, Alex is going to lose.
Okay, so you're taking Wesley to win outright.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Are you going to give us a spread on it at all? So I was going to take Wesley to win out as well, but I was going to say it was going to be within 6 points.
Ooh. I'll take him outright.
Yeah, I would say let's just do straight up. Let's keep it simple.
All right, I'll go with Wesley as well then.
All right, so I have Pat and Scott on the Wesley train, and sorry, Wesley, love you, buddy, but Alex Dragon has your number this week. I think Stephon Diggs and Terry McLaurin absolutely ball. All right, and that's going to do it for the pod. We did it, boys. We put it together. We did a Friday episode. Congratulations
Friday night pod.
Putting together a late night Friday night pod. Pat, how do you feel about being on the podcast for the first time? And it was a special edition.
I'm a little lit. This was like very full when we started.
So you're feeling good. Do you have any closing arguments for us? Anything you want to vent about? Get it off your chest.
Man, I don't. But I do wish we could make trades with CPU Team 1.
Dude, you're telling me that roster is stacked with people that I want to trade for.
Talk about keepers too, man.
It's Travis brutal. So, yeah, you actually bring up a good point. As far as that roster is most likely going to be inherited by somebody. Scott, you can back me up on this. When you joined the league, you inherited a roster, so you got to make those keeper decisions whenever you got the roster pre-draft, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So whoever joins our league and takes this spot will inherit a roster that is riddled with good keeper value. Pretty much.
I like to keep his roster instead of mine.
I offered Matt my entire team for his entire team, and ESPN let me make that trade. He just didn't accept it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was worth a shot. So that being said, if any of you who are listening to the podcast know someone who's interested in joining a competitive, fun fantasy league that has some weird rules where we all get to be general managers and actually make decisions with lots of foresight, keeper value, draft classes in mind, but also we still like to just harass each other and have a good time. Invite them to the league. Let me know who you're thinking about and if they'd be a good fit for the league and a good fit for the vibes here. And yeah, let's see if we can get this roster spot filled for next year and start thinking about what we want to do for the draft. I love the idea of doing an in-person draft, whether that's at Gavin's house, whether it's in Vegas, or whether it's another destination. I think we should all get together. I think we're all adults. We should do it like the TV show The League and all get together.
You are a big Vegas guy. I'm going to vote for let's buy Gavin wholesale balloons, pick it up, bring it to Vegas.
Oh, up style.
And then we get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, so we bring Gavin's house to Vegas up style. We just got to make sure that the winds are blowing from east to west somehow, some way, and we'll make that happen.
Yes, awesome.
That sounds good. All right, Pat, thanks for being on the pod. Scott, good to see you as always.
Cheers,
hope you get a major upgrade in your technology between now and our next pod. Can't wait to see you figure that out.
Same.
Before we go, if you guys want to play some Rocket League, I'm very down.
Yeah, I'm turning it on now. Let's do it.
I'm so in.
Yeah, y'all go ahead. I have to go make dinner for Scotty B. She's been waiting on me this whole time. So I will see y'all later. Good luck in week 11, boys. Peace out.
Peace.
Later.